When you discover fairy tales are lies, the pain cuts deeper for having believed them in the first place. That's how Serena's stories start. The day the tax collector comes to their cottage is the day fairy tales prove to be lies. They'd been Serena's refuge since childhood, these stories of common girls rescued by handsome princes, of magic transforming the ordinary into extraordinary. Growing up, she'd clung to the foolish hope that perhaps a kind fairy would come help her one day, that someday her empty womb would quicken with life, that the shame of her barrenness would transform into the joy of motherhood. But hope was a treacherous thing as it turned out. Because when it's finally crushed, you suffer not just the pain of your circumstances, but the ache of having dared to dream at all. Chapter 1. The tax collector's golden eyes shone in the dim light of their cottage, his huge body blocking the sunlight from the doorway. Serena watched from the shadows as her father held Aurora tight against his chest, protecting her younger sister as if the beta wolf might grab her at any moment. Which wasn't far from the truth. The taxes have doubled this season. The beta's voice rumbled through their tiny home. By order of Alpha King Darius. Serena's father shook with fear. Like everyone in their village, human and shifter alike, he was terrified of the king. Stories spread throughout the kingdom about Darius's cruelty, how even other wolves feared him. At least shifters had some protection under pack law. Humans were basically property, servants to be used and thrown away. And Serena? She was considered even worse than human. Born to shifter parents but unable to shift herself, she was her family's shame twice over. First for being wolfless, then for being barren, cast off by her mate after 5 years of failed attempts to conceive. Her father had taken her back with bitter reluctance, another mouth to feed with no dowry to show for it. The village whispered that her defects ran deeper than anyone had known. "My lord," her father's voice cracked, "we've had a poor harvest. If you could grant us more time..." "You know the penalty for failing to pay." The beta's eyes fixed on Aurora, who whimpered and pressed closer to their father. "The king requires new slaves. This one will do nicely." Serena's body tensed. Everyone knew what happened to King Darius's slaves. They disappeared into his dark castle and were never seen again. "But she's promised to be mated," their father protested. "She has a strong wolf. She'll bear powerful cubs for the pack." He stopped suddenly, and Serena's heart sank as his gaze darted to where she stood in the shadows. "Take my eldest daughter instead." The beta sneered. "You offer the king a defective half-breed?" "She's already proven useless for breeding," her father said, the words hitting Serena like physical blows. "Her own mate cast her off. She's perfect for a slave, practically human already and barren besides. No loss to the pack." "No loss to the pack?" the beta repeated cruelly. "But then, what gain to the king?" "She tells stories," Aurora blurted out, then shrank back from the beta's sharp glance. "Beautiful stories." Serena closed her eyes briefly. How many times had they mocked her storytelling, called it a shameful human habit, beneath the dignity of their kind? Yet now they offered it up like a prize, the only value they could find in their broken daughter. "Show him, Serena." Her father grabbed her arm, shoving her to her knees. "Tell him yourself." Serena lifted her head slowly. At least as a slave, she thought with bitter clarity, no one would expect her to bear children she could never give them. "I would be honored to serve Alpha King Darius in any way he wishes, my lord," she said. The beta studied her for a long time. There was something calculating in his gaze that made her skin crawl. Finally, he nodded. "Very well. The defective one will do." Outside, he shifted into his massive wolf form, dark fur gleaming in the afternoon sun. As they left her village behind, Serena didn't look back at her family. She'd learned long ago that stories were the only escape that mattered. Tonight, in her cell, she'd imagine a story where her family saved her, where her sister fought for her, where her father regretted his choice. Where being different didn't mean being broken, where a woman's worth wasn't measured by the children she could bear. She was good at making up happy endings, even if they never came true. Especially because they never came true. The sun rose, Serena caught her first glimpse of Alpha King Darius's castle. Towering against the bright morning sky, its white marble towers shone in the sunlight. It was more stunning than anything she could have imagined. Yet its flawless appearance made her uneasy. She knew from stories that breathtaking beauty often hid dark secrets. The beta wolf who brought her there shifted back into human form and grabbed her arm. "Move," he ordered, leading her not through the grand entrance but down a narrow side path beneath the castle. They entered through a servant's entrance, going deep underground to a chilly stone chamber where 5 other girls huddled together, all looking scared. Serena kept her face blank. She refused to let them see her fear. "Strip!" a stern woman with gray hair and amber wolf eyes commanded. "Now!" The girls hesitated. "You're the king's property," the woman snapped. "What you thought was yours, including your dignity, belongs to him." One by one, they removed their clothes, shivering in the cold. Serena moved methodically, folding her clothes neatly, refusing to show her humiliation. "Into the washing chamber," the woman directed them next. They were led into another room where servants doused them with ice-cold water. Serena gasped as the first bucket hit her, the shock of it stealing her breath. Rough hands scrubbed every inch of her skin with coarse soap until it felt raw. Her hair was washed twice, then combed painfully to remove every tangle. "The king won't have dirty village filth in his castle," the gray-haired woman explained, watching their discomfort with clear enjoyment. "Though I doubt any of you will last the month. You're hardly the beauties he usually prefers." One girl began to cry silently. "Save your tears," the woman sneered. "King Darius is not known for mercy. Learn your place quickly or face punishment." They were given plain gray shifts to wear and instructed on castle rules, who to speak to, where not to go, and the consequences of disobedience. "Tonight," the woman's voice dropped, "one of you will serve the king's special guest." The way she said special guest made Serena's stomach knot. Images flashed through her mind, being thrown to hungry wolves, offered as some kind of sacrifice. "The king himself will select which of you has the honor," the woman concluded, looking them over like meat at market. "You'll be presented to him shortly. Try not to embarrass yourselves." They were led up a narrow staircase to a small antechamber with a polished floor. Told to line up and keep their eyes downcast, they waited in tense silence. From beyond the door came the sounds of approaching footsteps. The atmosphere in the room shifted instantly. The severe woman who had been tormenting them moments before went rigid, her earlier confidence evaporating.